4-3, 4-3.
Blue 58! Blue 58!
Finding a franchise quarterback is perhaps the most difficult job in all of sports, and perhaps the most important. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team used to winning Super Bowls, a team used to dynasties, a team that's always in the playoffs, they've been searching for one for quite some time, ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired, and quite frankly, probably a little before that. Now, the good news in Steeltown, they enter this offseason with the 9th most expected cap space in the NFL at $60 million. They also enter this offseason spending just $45,000 in dead cap, good for dead last in the league. They also hold 3 top 100 picks in the NFL draft at 21 in the first round, 52 in round 2, and 83 in round 3. In that case, you might expect the Steelers to make a splash, but hold on tight. Steelers owner Art Rooney II recently stated that it is his preference to bring back one of either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, in which case perhaps they draft a rookie quarterback who can learn from them. The other option, well, maybe this is all a smokescreen and they are going to make a major splash in the free agency QB market. So let's break down both of these options. The first of which, in my opinion, would be re-signing Justin Fields to a 1-year, cheap deal and drafting a rookie QB alongside him. In 6 starts with the Steelers last season, Justin Fields went 4-2 with 10 touchdowns against 1 interception, despite being pressured on 40.1% of his dropbacks, the second highest rate among quarterbacks with at least 6 starts, even though his average time to throw in such situations was lower than Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Patrick Mahomes. Fields is likely not the long-term answer in Pittsburgh, but to say he isn't worthy of being a bridge QB with plus upside, to me, is false. And to pair with the veteran Fields, I think the Steelers could look into a player like Jackson Dart, quarterback from Ole Miss, in this year's draft. Now, they won't be able to reach high enough to get someone like Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, but in my opinion, Dart is the 3rd best QB in this class and has serious upside. This year, Dart led the SEC in numerous categories as a passer, starting with his 69.3 completion percentage, his 4,279 total passing yards, his yard per attempt at 10.8, his air yards per attempt at 11.53, his yards per completion at 15.5, his yards per game at 329.2, and lastly, his passer rating at 180.7. Not to mention, Dart is sneaky athletic when using his legs. 1,541 yards rushing with 14 rushing touchdowns during his college career. According to PFF, a 92.6 deep passing grade with an average depth of target at 11.9 yards. The only weakness to his game per se is a 68.4 grade according to PFF under pressure with a 19.2% pressure to sack rate. For context, Josh Allen, this year's NFL MVP, only at 9%. Considering the Steelers' offensive line these days, those numbers may pose a risk when it comes to Dart translating at the NFL level. But I do believe in the right system, and with the right coaches, Dart can be a quality starter in the NFL. Now breaking down option 2, the idea of potentially swinging big for a veteran quarterback via either the trade market or free agency market. The first 3 that come to mind, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Sam Darnold. When it comes to Rodgers and Stafford, I do believe that there's some left in the tank, especially for Stafford, whose Rams were super close to defeating the Super Bowl champion Eagles on the road in the playoffs. In fact, Stafford and the Rams gave them easily their biggest test of the postseason. The problem with Rodgers and Stafford, however, is that I believe the Steelers need to think they're in win-now mode. And in my opinion, I don't know if the roster is good enough on either side of the ball, quite frankly, to win in the next 2 to 3 years, which would be the window for Stafford and maybe even shorter for Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers have massive holes on both sides of the ball, starting with wide receiver, of course, the offensive line, even running back, and certainly in their secondary. So perhaps they could sign Sam Darnold to a 4-year, $160 million contract while building the roster around him. But let's be honest, Sam Darnold had a great year in Minnesota, but we saw what happened at the tail end of the season, both against the Lions and the Rams. Do we really think he has the clutch gene to lead any team to a Super Bowl? In my opinion, the best course of action for Pittsburgh is to re-sign Justin Fields. I think a plus-level starter who can win some games. He went 4-2 in 6 starts with the Steelers, and then behind him, draft a rookie quarterback, maybe with their first pick, but even better in the 2nd or 3rd round, where I think Jackson Dart could potentially slide. Regardless, the Steelers deserve some credit for the admirable job they've done of making the playoffs continuously even with players like Duck Hodges at quarterback. But Steeler fans and the ownership group are getting antsy. So in my opinion, or prediction, this year Justin Fields will start day one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, eventually, Jackson Dart will take over the reins.